Hello friends! Alright, so Chase Bliss sent me this pedal. They didn't pay me any money and have no say over what I say. Let's get into it. This video is going to be all about how I use the mood. Not so much as an effect pedal really, but more as a composition tool. We're going to make some sounds, I'm going to show you all my settings, how I work with it, and provide some thoughts along the way. First, some music. So the mood has two sides. This side's kind of more the looper side of things, and this side's effects. Everything's a little hard to define here, which is part of what makes mood so interesting. But we're going to start with the looper side. And there's three different, I guess you could call them algorithms on each side. On the looper side, I only use one of them. We're only going to talk about the one which is called tape. And then on the effects side, we're only going to talk about two. I mostly just use the reverb, but I sometimes use the slip, which is maybe better described as a pitch shifting delay, but we'll get to that. We're going to start here. And also my settings are important. So if we look up top, I have MISO on because it's a mono input. I have spread on, I have latch on, and most importantly, I have no dub on, which makes the loop side a pass-through. It doesn't feed back into itself, meaning you can just pass your live signal through it constantly and bend and shape it as you wish. Our sound source is this tape loop. Right now, we're at fully dry. Let's go to fully wet. So now it's passing through the looper, and it's doing so at the same general pitch range as the loop itself. This controls length. Lots of fun stuff you can do there, but I barely use this, and I'm going to leave it fully open at the longest length for the rest of the video. Okay, so here we set the pitch range, and it moves by fifths and octaves. And it will reverse on this side. So already we've got a nice selection of repitched sounds, versions of this loop that might blend nicely with the original sound. Or might just be interesting ideas on their own. And even just moving this around can be an interesting expressive tool. For now, I'm going to put it back at its original pitch location. And now we're going to start moving the clock. This is one of the most interesting parts of this pedal. This controls the rate at which the chip inside the pedal is working. Things get super hi-fi at the high end, and incredibly lo-fi at the low end, which you can't really hear at the moment, but I'll show you in a second. But anyway, you can hear that buffer has to kind of finish up what it's doing before it can return to the actual pitch range. So if I move it up, things are high for a moment, and then it gets back to the pitch that this is actually presenting it. And if I move it down, because it's moving slower, the buffer takes a longer time to pass through before the original pitch comes in. So there we go, now it's caught up. So that's a lot of technical jargon. What this means is that you get all kinds of interesting other pitch material as you move this around. Fifths and octaves, much like this. For the most part. And then also you get a big tonal difference. Bit crushed, sample rate reduced, So that's a big menu of options. Again, messing around with this original pitch set and how it can sound. Now we can combine the two, which is super fun. For example, I'll go high here, low there. Like, that's beautiful. That's very cool. Versus, I'll go low here and high here. Pitched down, but super hi-fi. Really nice. Now I'm going to mix in some of the original pitch. That's beautiful. So already, just on the looping side, just messing around with these two knobs, we've got a whole world of places we can take the original sound here tonally and in terms of the pitch material, and either recombine it with the original or just make entirely new ideas. Obviously, we're working in a textural, non-metered sort of a place. You're not trying to like line this up perfectly with a beat, which kind of leads me to one of my recommendations. If you're using this for composing on a track in a DAW, I would have the DAW recording this whole time. I would just be messing around and recording and then go back, sample some ideas if you want, take entire sections, whatever. You can end up with all kinds of interesting material for a track that is related to the original material of the track, but is moving in all these new interesting directions just by messing around with these two knobs. Okay, so next up, let's add this side in. I'll play it again, fully dry, wet, but only playing on the looper. Now we're gonna add the reverb, which is a big change. And you can mimic a smaller space, bigger space, and we're going to end up with big tonal differences again if I change the clock speed. Oh, I love that. Good Lord, that's just it's so fucking good every time. You just can't go wrong. And this shortens it. We're going to leave things fairly long for now. And now we're going to start moving around the pitch of the loop passing into the reverb. That's really nice. Right now we have the clock set pretty high, so it's a pretty hi-fi reverb. We go all the way up. It sounds like a DAW. It's very pristine. But, oof. When we go down, it gets nice and gross. Oh, I love that. That is just filthy. One of the things I love to do is actually set the reverb or set the clock very low so the reverb is just ugly, but then have the pitch higher, maybe not quite that high, and let it start to break through. If that'll come. There it is, starting to push through the mix. So that's basically it. That's how I use this thing. Okay, so now we're going to get that loop running again. There it is. On the looping side, and now we're going to flip over to what is called flip, or no, slip. What's called slip on this side, which I think of as a pitch shifting delay. And let's bring that in. We can control the delay time here, which I'm going to leave long for now. And then you have pitch control. And it reverses. And I believe it's this side. It's kind of hard to tell with this particular loop, actually. That can be really nice in combination with the dry sound. Again, moving that pitch around. This time by semitones, though. A little more control. Yeah, that's really nice. But I'm going to stick over here for a minute. And now we have all three of these to mess around with, and all of them are going to affect the pitch. So let's try some contrasts. We're going to go as high as possible here, low as possible here. Still pretty high. Let's let the clock slow it down. Let that buffer pass through. And even lower. Oh, that's very cool. Sounds very nice when you move this around. Let's go high here. Low there. That is very cool. Okay, so as you can see, using just one of the algorithms on the looping side and a couple of them on the effects side, we've been able to take the loop, which is literally just one chord playing over and over, and create all kinds of different areas, all kinds of different pitch information, almost melodies out of it, and a lot of interesting textural stuff. This is for me the most exciting thing that's happening in the pedal world these days, is pedals that can be compositional tools rather than just simple effects. So good on Chase Bliss for keeping the mood going. Blooper, Habit, Onward, all do similar things, but the mood remains my favorite. As always, thanks for checking out the video. See you next time.